Hello, everyone. I am Travis Cronin, and you're listening to Us Weekly's Hot Hollywood podcast. Today, I am joined by my two lovely lady co-hosts. We have the woman who will tell you if your lipstick matches your skin tone, the stylish Gwen Flamberg.
And I will give demerits if it does not. Hey, guys.
And we have the lady who will tell you which Bachelor guy deserves to go home first, Miss Sarah Huron.
Yes, I will, and I have a lot of thoughts.
Well, I hope you have a lot of thoughts because we have a lot of news to cover today. We have some royal allegations that are really dramatic. We have a cheating scandal that none of us are surprised by at all. We have a former 90210 star having some marriage issues, an A-lister hanging out with her ex, and much, much more. But before we get into that, let us start with our woes of the week. Those are stories that made me and my co-host just clutch our pearls and just go whoa and stand back. Sarah Huron, what made you go whoa this week?
Well, Travis, you mentioned The Bachelor, and as the host of Us Weekly's Here for the Right Reasons podcast, shameless
are you?
plug.
I hadn't heard. That's great.
Yes, it's not new. It's breaking information here. Katie's Thurston season is well underway. We're 3-4 weeks in, and I have been on Team Greg from the moment he stepped out of the limo. He's from New Jersey. He reminded me of like a guy I would meet at the Jersey Shore bar, but in a good way, not in like a bad way. And he just seemed really normal. And him and Katie had such a connection. And he got the first impression rose. He got the first date. She said she was falling for him. And during the most recent episode, there was so much drama, but they did manage to throw in a little moment of Greg comforting Katie. And I was like, oh, this guy's got it in the bag. They both bonded over losing parents. I was confident until Becca Martinez, who was on The Bachelor a few years ago, her podcast posted a meme that says, when the guy next to you is getting interrogated about wanting to do The Bachelor and you're going to pretend to be disgusted while hiding your own career aspirations. And it's a picture of Greg. And it turns out Greg went to acting school a few years ago and Katie liked the meme and then unliked it and then was listening to Traitor by Olivia Rodrigo on her Instagram stories. So now I have a bad feeling about how this is going to go. And I don't know if Greg is here for the right reasons and I'm devastated.
I'm so sorry that Dirty Jers is not going to be the one in the final four, most likely by the liking of that meme.
Or he is, and then he betrays her, like the song would suggest, because she did tell me that when I asked her if she was engaged and happy, Katie's response was, everything happens for a reason.
Oh my God. Well, that would be the first time the Bachelorette or Bachelor picks the wrong person and then was betrayed. So we will look out for that pioneer episode.
Totally.
Gwen Flamberg, what made you go whoa this week?
I went whoa this very morning, Travis, when I saw the lovely Queen Elizabeth, my queen, wearing lilac for her first in-person meeting since March of 2020. She made an appearance with Boris Johnson and she looked absolutely lovely in lilac. It was a soft whoa, but I was like, whoa, she's out.
Just seeing her outdoors makes me go, whoa, and have that sunshine touch her face is just a beautiful image for all of us.
And I also feel like she has been all smiles lately, and that makes me feel very warm and fuzzy.
Oh, well, we're going to give her something not to smile about a little bit later, but let me tell you what made me go whoa this week. It really did. It involves a really problematic, horrible R&B singer by the name of Chris Brown. Now, Chris Brown, hold your pearls, again, to the shocking information, has been accused of hurting a woman during an altercation. This happened on Friday morning. The Los Angeles Police Department responded to Chris Brown's home after a woman reported that he struck her in the face, and TMZ reported that she was slapped so hard in the back of her head that her weave came off. Now, this weave had to be either glued in or sewn in as what a weave does. So to get that glue or the stitches in, it must have been a really hard hit. And this is just so horrible. Chris Brown, of course, has a history of allegations about Rihanna. He sent her to the hospital in 2009. In 2017, KUWTK Tran got a restraining order against him. And in 2019, he was accused of rape by a woman in Paris. So this is, I mean, how many more is it going to take to Chris Brown fans just fall off the train? Horrible, horrible, horrible.
Horrible.
I know. My mom's ringtone is actually a song called Chris Brown Should Get His Ass Kicked. And yes, it is. And I think that is more timely today than ever.
Wow.
But let us get into the news.
And that's why I love your mama.
Yeah. And let us start with shocking allegations that really are just that. They're allegations. These aren't true yet, but sources have told us that Charles is going to possibly deny royal titles to Archie and Lily. Sources have confirmed to Us Weekly that Charles has a plan to slim down the monarchy, and that extends to his own grandchildren, Archie and Lily. The source told us Charles has made it unequivocally clear that Archie will not be receiving a royal title once Charles is crowned king. He's basically banned the notion as a type of consideration or possibility and has drawn a line under the topic. He is adamant the monarchy needs to be streamlined and there will be no room for sentimentality nor exceptions. So this is mainly he wants to save the people money, make a good first impression, cut the salaries down, but like to strip babies of royal titles, I hope he does not go through with this.
Well, to back it up for people, Archie and Lily don't have titles because that's the way it works. And the queen lived, has been in charge for a long time. And while she had to change the rule to get George, Charlotte, and Louis titles because they are in line much higher than Archie and Lily. So she changed the rule for them. So when Archie and Lily were born, they were never supposed to have titles. It was assumed that when Charles took over, they would get titles because that's just how the royal family works. Now we're hearing it's possible he's just not going to do that. And it does make sense to some degree if his parents don't have his and her Royal Highness titles, why would Archie and Lily have any sort of royal title? But I mean, I also feel like this could be Charles acting irrational right now, and maybe who knows how the family is going to be down the line.
Yeah, that all sounds good and good. Gwen, tell us what's wrong with this.
Well, that's just what I think. I think that this is all hearsay and conjecture, but if Charles actually takes the throne, I'm really, really hoping that he abdicates and ushers in like a new modern royal and lets William and Kate take the throne. But when that change happens and there is a shift in the line of succession, we'll see what happens. I think that it is premature to say definitively whether or not Archie or Lily are going to have titles. If it is part of the line of succession, they should have the titles. I also agree that it's like, if their parents gave up their royal titles, the whole family should sort of be like out of the royals. But listen, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. I think that there is a 0% chance that Charles is going to abdicate the throne because his thirst for it is so strong. Just that look in his eyes tells me he wants that crown and he is coming for it. I've seen that look on RuPaul's Drag Race when people are going for the crown, and he has it. So, I mean, possibly, but his first act should definitely not to be steal candy from babies. I just don't think it's a good look at all. Well, let's move on to, again, really unsurprising news. Khloe and Tristan third trimester Thompson. She wasn't even pregnant this time. Now let's start with a source close to Khloe confirmed to us that Tristan and Khloe have broken up. They've gone their separate ways several weeks ago and will continue to remain co-parents. And the source adds there is no drama. Well, that is pretty ironic because they had lunch together on Father's Day. And then a day after that, Tristan was spotted at a famous bodyguard's birthday party, going into a bedroom with 3 different women, one an aspiring singer, the other 2, I'm sure something / models, and then coming out of the room looking, quote, disheveled, sources told the Daily Mail. There's photos of him at the party, and apparently he had a 4G. And it just seems a little bit sketchy timing that then Khloe said that they broke up the next day and that it happened several weeks ago. I mean, Khloe stan Sarah Huron, what do you take from all of this?
Well, I mean, as always, trying to root for Khloe, was devastated when I heard that these two were back together last summer when they were quarantining together amid the coronavirus pandemic. But then I will say, as I was watching the final season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I found myself very upset with myself for liking Tristan. He was super likable. He turned on the charm. Obviously, in the back of my mind, I was like, I can't fall for this, and Khloe shouldn't either. But I got it for a second. And it makes sense because it was the coronavirus pandemic. There was nowhere else to be. There wasn't even basketball for him to be playing. There was nothing for him to do but be a halfway decent human. So the bar was low. So is this a shock? Of course not. Is it still upsetting? Yes, because Khloe's thing is being the forgiving one, the nice one, and she gets taken advantage of, and it's not fair. And we need to find Khloe a man. Then you had Tana Mojo, YouTube star, out here tweeting about Tristan showing up to her birthday party. And at first Khloe was liking tweets implying like, oh, Tana's thirsty. But then you hear all these other allegations, which by the way, have not been confirmed by us, or I think there's sources close to Tristan just saying he was at the party, but nothing happened. It's all speculative. But at the same time, where there's smoke, there's usually fire, especially when it comes to not only NBA players, but Tristan Thompson.
Gwen Flamberg, what do you read into all of this? A mess.
I mean, it's a total mess. But here's the thing, you guys. I was never buying that they were together, kind of like ever. I mean, yeah, during the pandemic, he spent time with the family, with the baby, which he absolutely should. And I'm sure that was really lovely. But I'm not buying that, like, when Khloe's hanging on him, like they're like happily ever after. It just doesn't add up. Where there is smoke, there is salmon.
Yes, there is. And Sarah, I'm 100% on board with you that Tristan Thompson is the most likable, charming, charismatic guy in the world. I can see how he could pull this over on Khloe and these three random girls at the party. Well, let's go to some YouTube comments because we had a lot of comments about this. Mindy Stein says, quote, "He doesn't actually want Khloe. It's a sick game of his that he plays when he's bored."
Oh, true.
Harsh and definitely true, Mindy. And DT, I think, is trying to, get some brownie points with Sarah when she says, at this point, Lamar is a better man than Tristan.
Okay, I mean, that's comparing to both not great marriages. I mean, Lamar had a substance abuse problem that did affect his decision making, but he also cheated on Khloe more than we could ever even know. But I mean, wow, I don't know. That's a hot take. I could never pick, I don't think. But there is a child involved with Tristan.
There is, and the cutest child in the world. And then we had maybe my favorite comment of the day. We have a young lady who said she tried crepe cake for the first time and it was delicious. I agree with you. Crepe cakes are underrated and delicious. Tried Madam X Bakery in New York. Gwen turned me on to it, and it is where it is at.
Yes, leave us comments about your food or your hot takes and celebrities, and we will now read them on the podcast.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum, yum. All right, well, let's move on to Tori Spelling, a woman who, again, like Khloe, I feel like we're all rooting for here at Us Weekly and on this podcast. We love Tori and want good things to her, but she is having marriage issues. Last week on the podcast, we talked about her being on another podcast, confirming that her and husband Dean McDermott were sleeping in separate bedrooms, which ding, 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 red flag, horrible. And now a source is telling Us Weekly that, quote, Tori and Dean have been having major issues for over a year now. The fact that she's talking about sleeping in separate beds is very telling. She would never do that unless things were really not great between them. Tori knows her kids see what she says online, and for her to say something publicly means the end could be very, very near. Now, this sort of confirms what we thought last time, but Sarah Huron, what do you think? Do you think a divorce next week? Do you think they're trying to work it out? Is this only for the kids? What is the tea here?
I mean, if you know Tori and Dean, a couple years ago,
and
and I do very well, actually. I've seen every show. I've read all 5 of her novels. It's called The Novels.
Okay.
She is very open about their sex life normally, too open at that. And for them to be sleeping in separate beds, not great. And Father's Day, she was like at a parade with Josh Flagg, and didn't post about Dean. Dean didn't post about her on Mother's Day. Neither of them publicly acknowledged their 15th wedding anniversary last month. Just very unlike them.
Yeah.
If you look at how they behaved on social media every other year, maybe besides the year Dean was caught cheating on her, very lovey-dovey. So yeah, I definitely think, I mean, he was away filming something for 6 months, she said. So maybe this is a way to try to rebuild, and it's very distant and there's hope for them yet. We know they've been in therapy before. We watched it on True Tori. But I don't know. I worry. I don't 5 kids. I don't know if it's gonna work.
So notorious. Well, we had some YouTube comments about this. Lala says Mary Jo is probably cackling at the karma bus that hit them. I know I would be.
For anyone who doesn't know, Mary Jo is Dean's first wife, who he was married to when he had an affair with Tori.
Thank you to our resident expert of Tori and Dean here. It's not looking good. Well, let's move on. Angelina Jolie hanging out with her ex. Gwen Flamberg, any thoughts before I get into this? Are you happy? Are you sad? You were very much at Us Weekly, I think, when all of the gross stuff was going down with them.
Jonny Lee Miller, he was cute. He was hot. He was a bad boy. He would teach her how to cover up her tattoos with makeup. I kind of loved them together. It was a totally different Angelina. And I'm just so into this summer of rekindled romance, you guys.
What is happening?
That's really what it is. I cannot, even begin to grasp the amount of exes hanging out with other exes, people hanging out with their exes. I mean, it's very strange. But Angelina Jolie is really at the forefront of this because she was seen arriving at her ex's apartment, Jonny Lee Miller, no H in Johnny, twice within the past week. She was in New York City for her birthday, and the first time she showed up with a bottle of wine, ooh, and the second time she showed up with her son, Paxton. Now, if you don't remember, Jonny Lee Miller and her met on the 1995 movie Hackers, incredible movie. The fashion still rings true today. They were married in 1996, and he got divorced in 2018, so he is single now. And I don't know what to think of this, but we have Catherine La Jolla commented something very interesting on the YouTube. She says, Johnny seems like a nice guy and a good man. They're good friends. Their sons are friends. So she thinks this was a play date. Now, we had a source telling us that yes, Angelina Jolie and Jonny Miller remained friends, but I didn't know that their sons were friends. So thank you, Catherine, for pointing that out. And Monica Les had something interesting to say that I feel like we get this a lot with Angelina, that quote, her publicist is working hard.
Oh,
which we approve of. Sarah Huron, what do you think about this wine date and then Paxton date?
I mean, they've made it clear they stayed friendly. But after Bennifer, it's hard to believe that anything is innocent anymore. I mean, I was on they are just, Ben and Jen are just hanging out, stirring the pot a little bit. They're still friends. And I was proven very wrong. So now I just assume everyone is dating.
Same here. I think that they were friends, but after that bottle of wine, I think the friendship has turned into something more. And like Gwen said, they were very hot together. They were very hot for each other. And it's a relationship from 20 years ago, in this case, almost 30 years ago, that the fire has not died out between the two of them. Now let's get into our favorite pretty mess on this podcast, who's Erika Jayne, the housewife to the hustler, which was, I watched it, fantastic documentary, thrilling, horrifying, feel bad for her. New paparazzi photos have come out.
You feel bad for Erika?
I feel bad that her life is slipping away from her, but she knows what she was doing. And I think the onus is on her. I don't feel bad for Erika. I more feel bad for the pretty mess, who I loved so much in her music videos. And I feel bad that the performer is gone, who once titillated and excited me and is now broke.
I will say, watching this week's episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Wednesday's episode, it's interesting to hear Erika finally talk about it super candidly. And you do wonder what she knew still, but you definitely feel a little more empathy for her. Like the show's giving her a little bit of an empathetic edit. but she's also still keeping stuff inside, as you can tell, because they haven't talked about the lawsuit stuff. But I mean, watching that documentary and like seeing the Tom's alleged victims like have to watch the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and her talk about how amazing it is to be rich is just disgusting. And it's hard for me to like take her seriously at all at this point. And I think they're horrible, but she's got some clapbacks coming out. She's not going down without a fight, right?
Tell us what she said, and please describe the gas station pictures, which I hope some of the victims of this horrible fraud, they can take some, you know, some happiness in seeing her look like crap at a gas station.
Yes. So Erika Jayne was spotted at a gas station wearing a shirt that says Billionaire Boys Club. It's like a teal. She has these sunglasses on. Her extensions, you know, have looked better. She got no makeup on. She looks a little more like Erika Girardi, not like Erika Jayne, but not even Erika Girardi, because Girardi, you know, is also usually boozed a la bougie up. But of course, she's pumping gas in these pictures, and everyone on Twitter was joking, you know, this is what happens when you lose all your money. They are allegations that Tom's firm gave her $20 million to her company, and obviously that was not his money to give her, apparently. So she tweeted after these photos made the rounds, "Good night, Twitter. Please be in full glam when pumping gas. Apparently it's a big deal." And she's out here tweeting GIFs of herself on the show, clapping back, and she's liking a million tweets. These are some tweets that she's liking, saying, "Never log off, never stop. Keep ruining their day and making your better. I've always lived by the phrase, go F yourself. It applies to everything. Love you, Erika. Don't listen or worry about the haters. They're just jealous. I don't understand why those people who don't even know you feel like they can talk about your life. You rock, girl." Like, wild.
Oh, God. I mean, like, don't give an F, but like the burn victims and widows and people in third world countries who are waiting for their money. And she's buying like every piece of the runway collection and spending $40,000 on hair and makeup every month is really insensitive. And Andy Cohen was asked, I think a caller called into his podcast and said, after watching The Housewife and The Hustler and, you know, seeing her act on The Real Housewives, flaunting all this wealth, are you going to cut her from the cast? Because it's so insensitive. And he pretty much said, like, no, I do not plan on it. Anything's up in the air, but he didn't see that as a problem. I sort of see it as a problem.
Well, I think he's going on more of the narrative of we don't know what Erika knows, because the documentary did include like testimonials from Danielle Staub and Dana Wilkie. And well, I thought it was funny, not like it was a good. I think the juxtaposition was kind of genius to have the ridiculousness, over the topness of the Housewives and the seriousness of Tom's accusations paired together, because that's what this is. I mean, it's an over the top spectacle and it's horrible, but I thought it made sense. But Andy was kind of going more towards that. I don't know how they would know what Erika knows, which is true. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, I think the lawyers who filed a lawsuit are very confident that they are going to be able to prove that Erika very much knew what was going on. So I can't wait for more court stuff to come out. It's fascinating.
Me too. And Andy Cohen has been a busy, busy boy because he is hosting the Keeping Up with the Kardashians finale spectacular reunion. And we are getting a lot of good nuggets out of this. We are getting a lot of Jordyn Woods info. During part 2 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Andy asked Khloe and Kylie about their relationships with Jordyn. And Khloe said she has no, quote, grudge against Jordyn. I mean, do you though? She says, "I think people make mistakes. People live and they learn. I forgive both parties." Adding that she couldn't forgive Tristan when she is co-parenting with him and was back together with him without forgiving Jordyn as well. Kylie, on the other hand, said, "Jordyn and I did have a talk after this when we were friends, and I never thought that we wouldn't be friends. It was kind of an overnight thing, you know? When she did something to my family, I felt like she did something to me." In case you don't remember, Jordyn Woods was seen getting more than cozy at a party with Tristan third trimester Thompson. Sound familiar? Yes, it does. And then she confirmed all of these allegations on Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith. And Jordyn and Kylie were more than besties. I mean, they were inseparable at all times. She was like a sister to all the girls. And it's rough, but I feel like when Khloe was talking, it was just sort of, I forgave Tristan, so I have to forgive Jordyn sort of moment. Sarah, what did you think?
Yeah, my favorite part was how like aggressive Kim got when she was like, "Listen, Tristan's not going anywhere because True exists. If True didn't exist, we would cut him off too. We cut off Jordan for a reason. And Kylie, hinted that Khloe kept saying, the door's open if Kylie wants to go there. Like, I'm not going to stop her. But Kylie, played it classy and was just like, she did something with my family. I don't want to go there, but they didn't go too deep. I was more fascinated by Khloe's admission she had a nose job.
Oh my God, that's shocking information because her nose changed so much.
But she's denied it for so long. I found Instagram comments from like 2 years ago where she denied having a nose job. And on the reunion, she said no one's ever asked. And I love Khloe. A couple minutes ago, I was defending her. But like, you have to be honest about the work you have done. It's not cool to not.
Well, speaking of Gwen, what can you tell us about, Khloe's nose and Kylie Jenner's kissable lips?
I just want to talk about Khloe's lips because her lips in these ads she's in on TV, her lips are like 3 times the size of what they were.
Oh yeah.
They're absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Kylie has said that the reason why she made makeup was because she didn't feel like she had kissable lips. That's Kris Jenner marketing 101. Prey on people's like fears. Listen, that Kylie has put stuff in her lips. She's taken it out. She's put it in. She's taken it out. She's made some decent makeup, whatever. She's completely changed her face. But Khloe is my favorite, you guys.
Me too.
I always loved her the most, but like, why do you want your lips to look like you went 12 rounds in the ring with Rocky? I mean, Jesus, it looks like she either went 12 rounds in the ring with Rocky or she face planted into a beehive.
Yeah, she just found out she was allergic to peanuts.
Way harsh,
taking a
Ty.
lip of peanut butter. They are, Gwen's right though. What upsets me and Gwen the most is you can blow up your lips, you can get a nose job, you're in Hollywood, we expect you to look amazing, you cave under those pressures. Fine, but don't lie about it to other people who are looking at you and
Agreed.
Say that you've had no work done when you've had everything possible done. It sort of reminds me when Khloe came back from Miami with a butt 4 times the size than she went there with and denied having Dr. Miami do her BBL, her Brazilian butt lift. And when he confirmed it, and then he had to take it down a while ago, and Khloe's like butt was so big, it's just unfair to say that you haven't done it. If you want to play coy and say it's none of your business, that's fine. But to outright say that this is just how the great Lord made me, I hate that.
Well, they've all denied anything's ever happened to their butts, so we'll never know.
Will we though? Okay.
The shape of their bodies that literally look like Barbie dolls.
I don't know
during
what
that
Barbies
reunion
you had growing up, but my Barbie wasn't shaped like that.
During that, Skipper didn't look quite like that on my doll. During the reunion, Andy asked them like about how they feel guilty perpetuating like beauty standards that are unrealistic. And Kim said like, no, we work hard. And I saw a TikTok that was so good because it was like, yeah, you might work out, but you also, have the best trainers, you have access to surgeons, you have access to the best chefs. So like take a little account, like you can be proud of your body and no matter how you got it, like I'm not saying don't be. And there is something to be said for their curves being a little different than, the stick figures that people used to, look up to too.
Yeah.
But I would just say, if I was asked that question, I looked like them, I'd be like, I'm not trying to do that, but at the same time, like everyone should acknowledge, we have access to things that other people don't. And, hopefully, just acknowledge it. I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. Say this body costs $500,000. It could
Allegedly.
be yours. Allegedly. I mean, come on, fine, allegedly, but to a blind person can tell that they've had work done. All right, let's move on to another segment that we like to call Sink or Ship. And today we have a very special lady on lady, reality star on reality star, former housewife on former housewife dating moment. Sarah, what can you tell us about Braunwyn's new girlfriend?
Fernanda Rocha, deep OC stans will remember her a long time ago, back when Tamra Judge and Gretchen Rossi were feuding. Fernanda was on the show. She was, I can't remember if she was a full-time housewife or just a friend, but she was a trainer and she was Tamra's friend. And now she's dating Braunwyn. And, you know, it's just a little ironic because Braunwyn is not coming back to Real Houses of Orange County. And one thing people have said about her is that, you know, these paparazzi shots that she calls on herself, there's no paparazzi running around Orange County. And that's something Heather Dubrow has also said, which is funny because now Heather Dubrow is coming and taking back her orange and Braunwyn's got to go. So for there to be paparazzi pictures of her making out with this woman and them to be dating all when this is happening, it's just like Braunwyn like is addicted to fame, I think. And
Yeah.
I'm glad she's not coming back because I don't think, as Andy Cohen did say, not maybe in the healthiest spot. And Brahma took offense to that comment, but at the same time, it's like you've changed your entire life. You're sober, you're a lesbian, and you know, you're on this crazy journey. Like, I don't think the paparazzi needs to see photos of you making out with your girlfriend the day after you confirm they're dating. Like, this is obviously curated, in my opinion.
Right. And I hope that they are happy together because I would love two former Housewife stars to be together. But it does feel like Braunwyn is sort of addicted to the fame and the attention, and that maybe the spectacle of it all is what's attracting Braunwyn to her and not the actual.
She probably, I mean, potentially wanted this to be her storyline on the show if they're dating and if they know each other. And now, you know, they don't have that, but maybe they still wanted to see what they could do together, or maybe they're in love. I don't know. Who am I to put Braunwyn down, kick her when she's already down?
We are here to speculate on all of this, but yes, I hope that Braunwyn is really happy. Oh God, speaking of someone who I really hope is happy, Bindi Irwin, we have to protect her at all costs. She is going to take a social media break for a while because of her mental health. Now, Bindi Irwin is, of course, the daughter of late Steve Irwin, the amazing Aussie icon, and she's made some very unsettling allegations about her grandfather, Bob Irwin. In a Father's Day post, she dedicated it to her own father and her husband, Chandler Powell. Lovely man. We stan Bindi and Chandler so much. And Bindi said, unfortunately, my grandfather, Bob, has shown no interest in spending time with me or my family, according to 7 News. Publicly, he continues to claim that he wants to spend time with us, while privately, my entire life has been psychologically abusing me. She goes on to claim that Bob has even gone so far as to return gifts she sent him over the years after opening them and then send them back. And she said, from the time I was a little girl, he's ignored me, preferring to spend time doing anything else rather than being with me. He has never said a single kind word to me personally, and it breaks my heart that it's not healthy to engage in this abusive relationship. Now, Bindi also alleged that the family has been supporting Bob financially since 1992 and is still sending him weekly payments, despite how he purportedly treated Irwin and her family for decades. She still maintains that she wants to take care of him. And she says, quote, we built him a house on our beautiful property and will always do our best to ensure his well-being. I mean, sad, tragic story. And this was sort of the reason that Bindi said she's taking a break from social media. Tragic, tragic. What do you guys think?
Super random. I had no idea that they had family beef with their grandfather. I mean, family feuds are juicy, but always really sad too. So, I mean, I feel like Bindi's just got such a good little head on her shoulders and she's like mom now. And it's crazy to see how grown up she is, to be honest. That's all I can really think about every time I see her.
Agreed. And before we go into our last segment, we have to bring up one other thing from the Keeping Up with the Kardashians reunion, the Scott Disick quote that really made my insides churn. He was asked by Andy Cohen why he, only dates teenagers. And Scott Disick said, I don't look for younger girls. They find me because I look so young.
Oof.
Oh.
Scott is just another one where it's like, I don't stand for anything that he stands for. But when I watch this show, I just love him. It's so bad.
It is very strange, Sarah, your obsession with the Lord.
It is. It's not healthy. I might need help. Forget Braunwyn.
Gwen, do you think he's only dating these teenage girls because he looks so young and they just flock to him? I mean, it could be a big part of the reason, but I disagree.
That ain't it. They date him because he was a Kardashian baby daddy, and they know that it's instant fame, period.
Period, Scott. I hope you're listening. Well, I wish we could throw Scott into this next segment, but alas, it is not his birthday, because it is time for Celebrity Birthday Boxing Mania.
Always a thrill.
Oh, it really is. Well, I'm glad you're thrilled, Sarah, because the first bout is for you. We have Tobey Maguire, who turns 46 this week, still looks 15, that guy, versus Drake Bell, who is 35 this week.
Okay, well, I don't want Drake Bell to win anything after those bizarre, creepy allegations about him and a 15-year-old. So let's go with Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. He's got the Spidey skills.
Ding, ding, ding. Gwen Flamberg, next is to you. We have Khloe Kardashian, 37 this week, versus Kathy Bates, who will be 73, the reverse age this week.
You know, Kathy Bates, she's good with an axe. I think she'd take that axe and just slowly shave off layers of lips. Exactly. Until Khloe just runs screaming out of the ring.
Oh,
Wow.
goodness. Wow, I can really visualize that. Thank you for that. It's sort of satisfying. Sarah Huron, last one before the big finale. Ed Westwick is 34 this week versus Gary Busey, who is 77 this week.
I mean, Chuck Bass is more important to me than I should admit. Also problematic, but Ed Westwick.
Yes. All right, Gwen Flamberg, it's a three-way battle that you get to call. Ed Westwick, 34, Kathy Bates with an axe, 73, and Tobey Maguire, 46.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. But I think that Kathy Bates would take both of them, hit them together like cymbals, and like that would be it. Kathy Bates for the win.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Happy birthday to 73-year-old Kathy Bates, still crushing on TV shows. We'll love her forever. And thank you to my co-hosts, Sarah Huron and Gwen Flamberg, for helping me spill this piping hot celebrity this week. We'll be back next week with an all-new episode. And again, this is Travis Cronin on Us Weekly's Hot Hollywood podcast with your weekly peek into the glamour, glitter, fashion fame of your favorite celebrities. After all, they're just like us. Bye.